Hey, wrestling fans, FNTrue followers, and members of the YWC. Brian Crazy.
JC Styles.
And I'm Chronic. From the Most Extreme Wrestling. Make sure you check me out at Most Extreme Wrestling. That is my YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and check me out.
All right, guys, please check out Chronix. He is also a member of the FNTrue Kliq. There's many of us, but unfortunately tonight only me, JC, and Chronix could get together for this video. We're going to discuss pretty much the current state of wrestling this week in wrestling. Didn't mean to cut you off, JC.
This week in wrestling. This is our very first video on the FNTrue Kliq channel. Thanks for tuning in. For those of you who are tuned in, for those of you who haven't, you go in jail,
Sucker.
Anyway, so we'll get right into it, and we'll probably start off with the most hot topic right now. Triple H COO, Miz and R-Truth being fired, and Johnny Laurinaitis. What's up? And let's go from there. What do we think? What's going on with that?
I'm surprised you didn't name Zack Ryder as your hot topic of the week, but you know the current state of wrestling definitely is gone off the charts in the last few months. They've gotten so much more fan interest, and they've just brought the product out of dark period into something exciting. What do you think, Chronix?
Well, most definitely. I mean, the storyline with CM Punk has really, brought a lot of people back to the table and, making people think that it's at least a little bit real, and at the very least, it's not completely lame. They're kind of giving a nod to the fans, the internet fans, and everybody that wrestling is not stuck back in the past, and we can address this internet stuff. And we know about all the stuff that happens backstage. We all hear about it all the time, and they finally bringing it to light. And I think it's going pretty good. My only concern right now at this point is where are they going to go from now? And I really am not sure with Nash coming into the picture and all of that. Tell me what you think about that.
Well, I think that if we all remember back in the WCW days, they had Scott Hall, who we believed was still in contract with the WWE when they went over and they started the nWo storyline up, and it kind of reminisces of that because Kevin Nash is fired. Now a lot of speculation on the internet is if Vince going to come back and reform the nWo, and if so, who will he? If he does, who will be the new outsiders? Now with quote unquote storyline Kevin Nash being released, being fired, and R-Truth and The Miz being fired now. I mean, we're kind of seeing it come together, but we still have that slight speculation that is it going to happen or isn't it?
Well, you do have to admit, back in 1996, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall revolutionized the business. You had all these kind of kiddish storylines, and they brought in a sense of realism to the product that was never there before. And you got to thank Eric Bischoff for that. A lot of people dislike Eric Bischoff, but he was the one that brought realism to wrestling. And the Outsiders did revolutionize what they were doing in WCW, and WWF at the time had to react with their Attitude Era to counteract.
Yes.
Now you go, 10, 15 years later, here we're at now. I do kind of agree with you that I think Miz and R-Truth could be the new Outsiders with Kevin Nash somehow involved. And if you think back to 2002, Vince McMahon brought in the nWo originally to kill the WWF because Ric Flair kind of had control of his creation.
Yes.
So that I could see Vince McMahon playing in just because of that part. Other than that, Vince and the nWo really had no connection throughout their history.
No. What do you think, Chronix?
Well, I kind of hope that they don't bring back the nWo just because, it didn't really work out in 2002. I think it could have, but, Nash got hurt. He got in a tag match, blew out his knee. You had just random people in there and Shawn Michaels, and I was just like, really? This is where we're going with it? It kind of fell apart. Now, it's like they did it in TNA. They didn't call it the nWo, but it, for all intents and purposes, was the nWo, and it kind of fell flat just a little bit. Now, I don't know. I think with R-Truth and The Miz being in some type of faction, I think it could be great. I'm not so sure about how good it could be with Nash being in there, but I do think it could turn out to be something that would be very interesting. Now, we do know that WWE not always does, sometimes it's very questionable the direction they go with it. I'm kind of interested to hear what you guys think about Kevin Nash because, yeah, he was really groundbreaking then, but now he's not so groundbreaking. I don't think anybody thinks, like, oh, he's fired. I don't think anybody really believes that. The groundbreaking element right now is CM Punk and, I guess, the whole, are they going to bring back a new faction with younger guys, instead of a bunch of old men kind of faction,
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, there is also, there's a lot of speculation what's going to happen when Hogan's contract is up with TNA and he finally retires. Is he going to jump ship and go back to the WWE, or is he going to stay retired?
He should go home. I mean, really? Does anybody want to see him back there again? I mean, yeah, it was awesome seeing him come in 2002, being in the WWE, and he had been there since, like, 91 or 92. That was huge. People loved it. He went into WrestleMania 18, and it was a big sellout, awesome show. But, he gets about 2005, and no one really cares. Now he's in TNA. People just want to see him go home. And honestly, I could just live my whole life without ever seeing his face again. Like, really.
Well, I think Hulk Hogan, the one thing he does for TNA is he brings brand recognition. I mean, Hulkamania is known worldwide. Hulk Hogan is probably the most famous wrestler in the world. Ric Flair is probably the best technical wrestler in the world, at least in his era, but Hulk Hogan was still the best-known wrestler of that era, and still probably is one of the best-known.
But WWE doesn't need that.
No, they don't. They don't at this point. I agree with you. Hulkamania has run its course. The nice thing for TNA is that he was able to help kind of that company who has a smaller fan base kind of reach more of a mainstream audience. They see Hulk Hogan. They recognize the brand recognition. And
but wouldn't you agree that he's too much? He's there too much. Like, he's on TV too much, and his face is just there way too much. Too much television time and not enough television time on younger guys. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Oh, agreed. I mean, he's trying to pull the 30-minute promo segments that Vince McMahon made popular and the nWo made popular.
Yeah.
And at this point in time, to see Hogan for 2 to 5 minutes on every show, that's what they should regulate it to. All right, he's the boss, so of course he's going to be pulling a few strings.
Yeah.
But for him to be running, and to put Bully Ray in charge of Immortal, that's simply unacceptable. But we're getting a little off course here. But...
to close out that discussion on the,
I do want to
NWO.
touch on CM Punk real quick,
Yeah.
and I want to touch on Kevin Nash. Like you said, Chronics, Kevin Nash revolutionized the business back in '96, and he ran pretty damn strong up until he came back to WWE in 2002. Then, like you said, he had the injury in the tag match, and then he kind of started to fade into obscurity. Then you get him in TNA in 2005, Kings of Wrestling. Paul, they're still going pretty strong. They're aligned with Jarrett. That gives Jarrett a little more credibility, becoming the 92-time world champion over there. And the whole point I'm trying to make is I can see Nash as a good manager and a good leader to the younger guys, but the in-ring aspect, you can obviously tell Nash is just not ready to go anymore.
I mean, didn't Triple H and Kevin Nash have a Hell in a Cell match? It was like the worst Hell in a Cell match ever. I mean, didn't that happen? Like in 2002 or so?
I think it did. We'll have to look into that and allow our viewers to look that up and communicate with us.
Now you're making me think, Chronics.
And the thing with CM Punk as of late too, I mean, he's been as he calls it, a pipe bomb. He's just been dropping pipe bombs for since Money in the Bank, since before Money in the Bank. I mean, the guy right now is, he's selling tickets for the WWE because everyone now wants to know what's CM Punk going to say with a live microphone in his hands. What's he going to do? Is he going to break character again? Is he going to bring back some of his old friends? There's a lot of stuff going on, especially with Claudio and Chris Hero. Claudio signing with the WWE.
Claudio Castagnoli has signed with the WWE.
Right. I totally believe, that would be a different faction, obviously, having CM Punk and all his buddies from Ring of Honor or whatever.
I would like to see a ROH invasion. You got Claudio there be picked up already. It'd be kind of cool to see Chris Hero, and then with Samoa Joe possibly on his way out in TNA, it would be kind of cool to see him come to WWE and bring back an ROH invasion.
As long as they do it as better than James E. Cornette's invasion in '98 of the NWA, we're all set.
Yes.
But, to comment on CM Punk, I mean, I think Eric Bischoff said it best about 6 to 8 months ago, that 10% of the wrestling fans are the ones that are here on the internet, and they're the ones that are creating most problems. 90% of the fans tune in, watch the product, and just enjoy what they see.
Yeah.